What is going on, gamers? Welcome back to EU Masters. My name is Munchballs. I'm joined by the UK lad himself, the Northern superstar, is Hawks on the right of my screen. How are you doing, mate? How are you feeling? Because I know you're an ex-player, so I know you're getting excited watching a bit of League of Legends on your screen. I know that you wish you were competing today, but how is it holding up? Is it too emotional for you, or are you still doing all right?
It's intense. It's honestly, I feel like I'm in the driver's seat sometimes. I'm like, am I playing this game? No, when they int, but yes, when they're playing well. That's basically my perspective on it.
All right. Well, I'll keep reminding you of that across the course of the day. We'll see how you. We'll keep on coming in and checking in and testing you. Let's talk about our next series because we're going into yeah, exactly. We're going into AGO Rogue versus SuppUp, and it's important to put this all in context of the fact that we've got seed number 1 stepping onto the stage today. We've got AGO Rogue, who are not only seed number 1 for the Ultra League, but also the current reigning champions. It's a different roster, but the same organization of EU Masters. And then we've also got SuppUp, who are stepping up as the first seed from the Balkan region. And it feels like, as always with EU Masters, this is going to be one of those tester games where we're like, okay, which region is coming in as the stronger region? Are the Balkans going to come out from the side and make a big upset? Are Ultra League going to be the favorite that we expect them to be?
And I would probably be leaning towards the Ultra League as the clear favorites in this one. We can look at, because both these teams were there at EU Masters last year, and obviously AGO Rogue won the whole thing. SuppUp 0-6 in groups, so a little bit of a contrast between those two. But that's the thing. The expectations are so much higher for AGO Rogue in this situation. You just won it. You have players flying off to the LEC all over the place. Trimby was just in the finals. He's obviously moved up to the main roster. There's huge expectations, whereas SuppUp, if you get a win, you're doing great. The expectations are low. Do what you can. They've got some spicy picks, and I'm hoping that we get to see some good play from them, because realistically, if they lose, we'll kind of go, okay, fair enough. If they bring out a win, you know, the region will see them as heroes.
Yeah, and I want to take a second and just kind of set the story for AGO Rogue. For anyone that doesn't know this team, for anyone that doesn't know what happened in the last EU Masters, AGO Rogue were the champion. And when you look through that championship roster, you've got Shigenda, who's now on Vitality in the LEC, Zanzara to Astralis, you've got Cho'Gath going to XL, and then Trimby on Rogue. And then you've also got Woolite, who's also back at EU Masters on another roster. So AGO Rogue not only win EU Masters, the entire roster explodes, they build a new roster, and then they still come in as the first seed. That is an unbelievably successful split coming out from AGO Rogue, and I'm hoping we get to see them continue that success here today. But Dan, we're into Chapter Select, so let's talk about this one. Nocturne, going to be the first ban here from AGO Rogue.
Yeah, I actually love this Nocturne ban. It shows they've done their research. SuppUp were playing the Nocturne mid Karthus jungle, and I actually felt like that probably give them the best odds of winning this matchup, as they could really look to smash through mid lane and find an advantage. With that banned away, obviously limits it, but I'd say SuppUp are a team who have quite diverse pools. They have a lot of varied drafts, and that's something you can definitely praise them for. So I'm kind of excited to see what comes out of this phase. For now, though, Hecarim Rel banned away, some strong engage options. On the other side, just a Thresh, who's obviously huge power pick so far in the tournament.
Yeah, just trying to get rid of some of those power picks. The Orianna as well that has been banned away here. This is something that we've seen creeping up the ban list across the whole world, really, where some regions really don't ban the Orianna much, but with how prevalent it has been and how strong it can be when you get to the later stages of the game, I think very understandable ban. Seraphine, a similar sort of place in the meta to that Orianna. So as we get to these picks here, Tristana going to be the first lock-in.
Yeah, and it works as a flex. I quite like this. I think mid priority is often really important for the side of AGO Rogue. Often see things like Syndra being picked up so they can just apply that pressure. Tristana can serve the same purpose, but obviously still functions as that flexible pick. And there's not really too much revealed in that one. So SuppUp had choices in which they want to answer with. Hovering the Udyr potentially here, but instead actually opted for the Jinx. So we saw it last game. Obviously did a ton of work, even though it didn't work out in the end.
Yeah, and things like the Tahm Kench available that we talked about in the first game, but also, or I guess the fourth game, but also things like that Braum that we've been seeing a lot across the course of the day can work really well with that Jinx. But the Udyr locked in for Spooky, and I do want to quickly talk about SSU and kind of expectations here, because when we look at some of the players, especially like twohoyrz, he's played 14 different unique picks across the course of this year so far. Similar story with Spooky in the jungle, who's played 12 different junglers. There's a lot of available for this team, and they are not afraid to try different styles of League of Legends.
Do you see that Tahm Kench you were talking about before coming in and just rattling through the bans here? I mean, sorry, the picks. And I think Volibear really solid pick for AGO Rogue. Taking that Alistar though, obviously very early means that SuppUp are able to answer it, and having the Tahm means with the Thresh out there, it's the sort of big pick that can keep your AD carry safe. But we still have that flex option from AGO Rogue kept available.
Yeah, so far the flexibility of that Tristana is still going to be a good option for them. Akali taken off the board. This is something that definitely in the right hands, Akali can be an absolute menace to deal with, but it's not something AGO Rogue have played across the course of this split. Sylas will be the answer. And you can expect maybe just Chres getting his champion pool pinched even more. Chres's most played is actually the Syndra, which, you know, globally, not the greatest win rate across the course of this year so far, but there are certain players that still love to play it, and in the right hands, still a perfectly potent pick.
I think it kind of sets the sort of message for how AGO Rogue want to play. They want their mid prio, they want to allow Lurox to do what he wants, and essentially it feeds through that. And I think when you have an Udyr who, when he's ahead, feels unstoppable, and when he's behind, feels very underwhelming, SuppUp need to have a plan to respond to that. They need to have some way in which they're going to be able to mitigate that AD pressure, because if it is a Tristana, that can cause problems already.
Yeah, certainly can. Tristana can definitely take over a game. To the side of AGO Rogue, though, they ban the Yorick. Now, this is not something klowny has played this split, but Yorick definitely very strong right now. It got a bunch of buffs recently. I don't know about you, Orcs. I've not seen it in competitive, but I can imagine it is terrifying to deal with, certainly in a 1-3-1.
Yeah, it got buffed, and then the following patch, which we haven't hit yet, they were instantly like, yeah, we're nerfing this, because they kind of overdid it a little bit. So glad to see it go out. I think especially when a team's on the red side and you know that they're capable of bringing out these very picks, I think shutting it down, eliminating that chance is solid. We do see the Syndra coming out. I like the Viktor as a way you can potentially answer in terms of priority. I think you're happy here, just put the Tristana in the bot lane, and then top lane, you're going to have to be picking blind, but I think there's a bunch of options in the situation. Gnar still up and available. You still have the likes of, you know, Gangplank, Renekton, all these sort of things that you could take. Even just a Scion would be a pretty solid one. They do like to lean into those tanks top, but they are going to go for that Gangplank, apply a bit more pressure down bot lane. And it's actually something that's really difficult for a Syndra to deal with, because in teamfight, you throw down a cannon barrage. She's so immobile, since she has to sort of waddle out of it.
Yeah, same with Jinx as well. If you don't have to get excited, it can be very difficult to get out of the cannon barrage, and gives a lot of space for Alistar and for Volibear to close the gap when the cannon barrage is behind those squishies, and then suddenly Pyrka's there rubbing his hands together, licking his lips at the idea of getting the headbutt pulverized onto that Jinx. But it's going to be a Cho'Gath as our final lock-in. I have no idea how a Cho'Gath goes up against Gangplank, but definitely an interesting lock-in for the final one.
Yeah, I think Cho'Gath's actually okay in the Gangplank because you're so tanky. His oranges doesn't really do much against your knockup, and you can actually solo kill the Gangplank if you start to get some momentum once you get the level 6 available. So the matchup there is fine, but ultimately for the side of SuppUp, they really need to get things rolling in the mid jungle, because you know you're going to see the Syndra get outscaled by the Viktor. If the Udyr doesn't get ahead, he's going to fall into irrelevance. And there's a lot of scaling elements on the side of AGO Rogue, ways they can sort of punish your backline. So I want to see SuppUp, similar to what we said for UCAM, have a strong early game, get the momentum rolling.
Yeah, and I feel like when they're grouping up, that team fight is going to look pretty good for SSU. Setting up the Jinx and the Syndra when you get big scatter of the weeks can just totally set Jinx up to go crazy in those fights. When you've got the rockets from Pow and then you Super Mega Death Rocket as well on a team that's all stunned up together, feels real good for the Jinx player. So excited to see what SSU can do here, because as we said before, SSU are the underdog coming into this game. They're here to prove themselves on behalf of the Balkans as well, on behalf of the whole region. Whereas AGO Rogue very much coming in as a favorite, the #1 seed from the Ultra Liga, the organization that won the EU Masters in summer 2020. So it feels like there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of these players on your screen. And for SSU, feels like they're poised in position to try and upset the favorite.
And I think a big thing as well for AGO Rogue is that as much as, you know, the organization has this title, the players went on and did these great things, these players do not hold that title. These players were all brought in for this split, and they have a big reputation to live up to. Getting the first place in the Ultra League was great, and obviously met that, but you want to have a good performance at EU Masters. You're the reigning champions, the organization. You want to try and get that W again.
Yeah, we'll have to see if AGO Rogue can maintain that presence in the league. But you can see just line of scrimmage across the map to start us off here. Is Sinmivak going to be on that Gangplank? And I feel like in that top lane, a lot of grasp going to be going on. Both those top laners will be quite happy to just trade away, get those grasp procs, and try and scale up across the course of the game. But I'm most curious about the junglers. As you'll start to learn about me, Orcs. I like to watch the junglers in the early game. We've got Spooky starting on the bottom side. Same story for Lurox. You mentioned how Cho'Gath can build kill pressure for the Gangplank. With the junglers headed up towards the top side of the map, do you think it's volatile enough that maybe we see some level 3 action?
I think if Sinmivak starts to push the lane in towards the tower, I think Udyr is really good at just ganking him. You can run him down quite effectively. Obviously, has the oranges for the stun, but red buff is enough to sort of keep him at bay. For now, I mean, with klowny getting chunked out, potentially it's going to... I mean, it seems like a situation where Sinmivak is going to shove in, so that potentially provides a window, but you have to be concerned about that counter gank.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about Udyr as well, is you're very strong early on into the game. The stance is doing a lot of damage, especially the Phoenix stance. Honestly, too much damage. It is real difficult to deal with. And look at this from Sinmivak, the pressure he is putting onto klowny. Go back to the circus, mate.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit about that kill pressure that can come later on. Not really starting to see that so far. klowny's getting chunked out. Gonna have to recall, and I think he's gonna walk back into lane just as the wave hasn't hit the tower yet. Nope, TPing in. So this is potentially a really vulnerable spot. If you end up getting chunked out again, if you end up dying here, you have no way to bail you out.
Yeah, so klowny's back from the circus. He managed to buy himself another pot at the circus, so that's good. The circus is just a fan, by the way. I wasn't insulting him. It's just, you know, if you were from the Balkans, you'd understand. Trust me, trust me. But yeah, as we talked about, the jungler's packed it up towards the top side. Sinmivak is very so pushed in here.
I've just realized it's because he's called klowny.
Yeah,
that just dawned on me. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Okay,
yeah,
Sinmivak's
connection.
Oh, he's not getting ganked. Spooky's just looking for the crab. Lurox is here as well. Mid pressure in favor of 2hours here, so Spooky will have some backup. It's a smite fight. Spooky gets it though. Level 4 versus 3 here. And with the Syndra alongside him, they can tottle away happily with that one.
The prio coming in for the Syndra means you're able to actually get that skull. Now, moving down towards bot lane could be a little bit more precarious, but the thing is, Chres is out of mana, not really going to be able to assist. I think Spooky can just take this one, although Lurox having the smite available means Spooky wants to get the fight going first.
Yeah, so Spooky's like, all right, you've got smite, I haven't. 1v1, that's how we're going to do this one. He's in trouble. Early smite has to come out. Spooky trying to finish the kill, but he gets knocked up here. Flash over the wall, looking for first blood, but Lurox survives. 2 hours now, low on health. Looker jumps over the wall. They're on to Mersa to try and finish more kills off. Double for Lurox, and AGO Rogue starting off in style with the 2, looking for BZZ for a third. He gets over the wall, but it just doesn't matter. AGO Rogue in charge.
Just turns into an absolute fiesta already. I love it. Spooky trying to get control, but the big thing was the difference in priority bot lane was what influenced that play. Pyrka was able to move up, get the combo down, and essentially just instantly kill off Spooky there. So we'll get the replay here. Obviously, you start the fight, and this is looking favorable. We're talking about this smite disadvantage here. And Lurox being able to smite the scuttle, gives him the heal, allows him to survive. Alistar gets the flash combo in. Spooky goes down, and Lurox gets a massive heal from that and gets the level up as well, and things get really messy here. Mersa's in the middle, not able to do much, and the amount of summoners burnt there by SuppUp just devastating.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it 100 with everyone in the chat here. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce twohoyrz over on the side of SSU. That is a spelling that my brain just can't comprehend. Orcs is telling me incorrect pronunciations on Discord while we're going on the cast. Spooky gets away with
I said it as a joke. So I said it as a joke. I literally thought you said it as a joke. I apologize
if I pronounce his name wrong. I will do my utmost to message the casters from the Balkans region to get it right for tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know how you would say that. I'm going to say it how it looks, which is twohoyrz. But if I do mispronounce it, I do deeply apologize to anyone from the Balkans region.
I couldn't help but laugh during that replay just because I saw your reply. I literally just thought it looked similar to 2 hours and I thought it'd be funny. So yeah, You're welcome.
Well, to be fair, it did take me about 2 hours to figure out you were joking, so there's always that. Let's talk about the game, though, and where we're at right now.
Klowny.
Yeah, that's very true. We're not the fastest today, but I tell you who is. It's AGO Rogue right now, winning out of 2v2 thanks to Sinmivak dropping the cannon barrage there as well. But Lurox as well, 2 kills already on the board. Game number 1, we saw a huge jungle diff in favor of our red side. Game number 2 here, feels like it's more going the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 kills Lurox got were massive. If Spooky had been able to get the double scuttle, we could have seen a similar situation as we saw from Hades in that UCAM game, where he's able to snowball the lead and get ahead. But now, I mean, Volibear can just kind of annihilate camps. You've got that advantage. You're able to use your E that just absolutely shreds them. You can kind of keep pace, and you're going to remain more relevant later into the game, have the power, your ultimate, and the ability to dive down onto the likes of the Jinx and Syndra. So far, AGO Rogue are in a really comfortable spot.
I always think the skin that VZZ is using on the Jinx, the Pow rockets look like Banshee rockets off of StarCraft 2. It always takes me back every time I see that skin. It just reminds me exactly of cheesing people with stealth Banshees. Those were the days, man. Just wrecking ladder. Anyway, Pyrka's in trouble because we've got... I mean, that is a level gap and a half right there. Pyrka was level 3, getting chased by a level 5 and a level 6. That is not the ideal scenario you want to be in as Alistar. Post level 6, he's a god. In those early game scraps, he can be a little bit sus. But Lurox going to be able to start this streak off, is on the Volibear, has a massive lead, so he's quite comfortable to just kick this one off for himself.
Yeah, prior, mid, and bot critically as well means the likes of SuppUp's solo lane, mid laner and bot lane have to go back and answer. And it just gives them the freedom to push in. We do see on the other side of the map, though, SuppUp starting to take that top side scuttle. Could potentially look to get control as Herald for now, but realistically, I don't think Spooky wants to risk going for that one solo. Likely what we might see here from AGO Rogue is they crash this wave in bot and they look to swap and move up towards the top side.
We'll see if they do go for that lane swap. I have been updated by our god tier production guys, and apparently 2 hours is the correct pronunciation. Sinmivak might be able to finish off Klowny here. Spooky's moved up to help the push. Luckily for Klowny, he's Cho'Gath, so he has a lot of sustain in that passive. He'll be fine. Sinmivak just has to farm underneath the tower, so it was getting a little bit dicey. But yeah, to revisit the topic of this Syndra's name, it is actually apparently pronounced 2 hours. So, Orcs, even though you were trying to bait me, you actually were correct.
So, an EU Masters caster guessed a pronunciation and got it right. That just doesn't happen.
That's got to be a first.
That's just never. That's got to be a first.
Yeah. So anyway, 2 hours, looking all right, feeling all right. He spelt his name a bit weird, but we'll let him off on this one. Already has those tier 2 boosts as well. But first straight, going the way of AGO Rogue, and they're like, you know what? We're not done with the neutral objectives just yet. We've got complete control of the game. Let's move up to the top side and grab ourselves a Herald as well.
You can see that it's kind of costing the bot side a little bit, but this is the power of the Gangplank. You throw down the cannon barrage, the wave's deleted. It means that, you know, Sinmivak's going to be able to buy more time before that tower goes. And on the top side of the map, AGO Rogue can just look to secure this one. They've got a Tristana, they've got a Herald. This tower is likely just to go extremely fast.
Yeah, this is real nice macro from AGO Rogue here, because they can just push away, and you can see good guy Pyrka over there is letting all of the solo plate gold go to his AD carry here. Similar story on the bot side, though, as VZZ has had just tons of free time to hit away onto that tower. He's also stacking up a cult as we speak, so VZZ is actually way ahead in gold. He's 20 CS up. He's already got a whole bunch of plates. He's about to get a 4th one for himself, and when you look at the gold difference, it's already 500 in his favor, but that Herald might just turn it on its head. Here we go, a bonus kill on top of it. Klowny has stepped too far, and all of that conversation of AD carry gold goes out of the window because luck is ahead.
Yeah, jumping out, get the kill, jumping back into tower range to pick up the first tower of gold. Klowny making a bit of a mistake there, handing over that one for free. I think that's a difference in Sinmivak just completely backing away, accepting the fact you're not going to be able to defend this. And it just means that it's more of an advantage again for AGO Rogue. But SuppUp, they're not too far behind. It's starting to feel a little bit painful. And again, we said this team, you have the Syndra mid, you have the Udyr jungle, you want the early momentum. Being, you know, moderately behind isn't a good start to the game.
Yeah, it's a difficult one when you start to fall behind, especially when it's both Drakes and Heralds. Quite often what we'll end up seeing is when an early game's fairly even, you get one team going for Heralds and one team going for Drakes, right? And sometimes just trading across the map. And then once it gets to the third Drake, then you get some scraps. But when one team is taking all of the neutral objectives, you've gone even on towers, and they're also stacking those Drakes, that's when you've got a bit of an issue for SSU. And once we get to these mid-game fights with AGO Rogue having a 1k gold lead, it's not like they're not going to scale well. They've got a Tristana, they've got a Viktor, they've got a Gangplank. It's feeling real good for AGO Rogue.
Yeah, and it's feeling a little bit rough for SuppUp. We do still see the Udyr able to pull off a little bit of a farm lead, but again, he's not going to remain relevant throughout the game. Cho'Gath is a little bit behind here. 2hours.
Oh, that's a nice stun, though, coming out from Chres onto 2hours. That's a lot of damage with Chaos Storm as well. 2hours gets out to safety, but still, good opportunity there. Doesn't have to quite burn the flash, though, so AGO Rogue buying a ton of priority, buying themselves space in the river, and look at FLICKR again. He gets solo time on the towers. This feels like I'm watching in Season 6 or something. I forget the season where it was all about just lane swaps and getting your AD carry solo gold on towers, but that's exactly what I'm witnessing. Sinmivak is in trouble, though, because we've got an abyssal voyage coming through. Flashes away from the rocket, but flashes into the loving arms of Spooky. He's feeling ghost-like today because he haunts the life out of Sinmivak. And now a bit of a 2v2 in the mid lane as well. Nothing going to come of that one. It's just VZZ getting a ton of free time, but FLICKR's already finished the tower at the bottom side.
Yeah, not too sure about that flash coming out from Sinmivak. I don't think there's any way you're going to outplay that one. Had praise from earlier playing on the weak side, but definitely overstepped there, trying to greed for the wave. But again, as you said, FLICKR just farming up these towers, getting a ton of gold in pocket. Even more plates. Got those 5 plates top lane, got another 5 bot lane. And FLICKR is often the late game carry for AGO Rogue. It often is him who they rely on. They have Chres typically playing things which have a lot of wave play early game. Oh, Sinmivak, what?
Oh, Sinmivak.
Why are you here?
Oh, my boy. What have they done to my boy? He's on his own in a 2v1. The TP's there, but it is far too late. And Sinmivak just does not get to do anything. Importantly, though, even though he does go down here, he has still defended that tower. He's still holding on to those plates.
All right, I respect your attempt to defend him that much, but that was just straight in from me. TVing in, you've just died there, goes for it again. You could ult from a distance. I'm not sure if he knows that, and now Chres is falling for it too.
Oh no, Chres, he's done the same thing again, but actually Spooky's in trouble, low on HP, VZZ tagging the tower, but Mersa's here, Tahm Kench ruins everyone's fun, happily tagging the tower just for the banner. Mersa, you cheeky devil, you.
I think that tower needs to die for AGO Rogue's sake. They just keep getting baited into defending it. Just let it go. It's only a couple more plates. It's not that big of a deal. You've just lost 3 people, 3 kills over to SuppUp for what? And now actually I think with SuppUp taking this tower, they're actually going to have a gold lead off the back of that somehow. Oh.
Yeah, Lurox is actually going in though. He has not seen Frozen. He will not let it go. Does not believe in Elsa right here. So the tower finally goes down in favor of SSU. That's 2 towers apiece. Only the mid lane towers remaining.
My mind is blown that passage of play. Like I had so much praise for AGO Rogue. The early game was going really solid. Sinmivak knew exactly how to play the weak side. And then they're just like, yeah, let's just die 3 times in a row trying to defend this tower. Solid move.
I wasn't sure if Pyrka was about to go in there, mate, because, you know, it looked like he wanted to stop the recall, but I just want to point out, Pyrka is level 6 right now. Look at his counter support, Mersa, level 8. Everyone else in the game, like, level 10. Pyrka is real far behind, and that means without ulting, he is real squishy as well.
But this always happens. Whenever you talk about someone's level, they always level up as soon as you mention it. And as he hit 7, just as you were bringing that up, Munch.
Well, I did it on purpose because I wanted him to level up because as I'm sure Twitch chat is probably spamming already, biased casters, it's all very true. We specifically hate certain teams. We specifically love certain teams. So as someone who has no affiliation with Poland whatsoever, I am, of course, a biased caster. Polska Gorum and all of that good stuff. It's going to be Pyrka finally hitting the level 7 though, as you say. This Rift Herald does go the way of AGO Rogue again. That's 4 out of 4 neutral objectives going to AGO Rogue so far, which is not a good look for SuppUp. But the thing is, they've got a lot of scaling. VZZ's in trouble. Knocked by almost one shot. Survives though. Lurox comes in now. Mersa gonna be chased down, but Spooky's here to chase off the kill attempt. Nice effort there from FLICKR, but it actually costs him his heal.
I actually thought that Looker was going to go down there. VZZ actually has more items than him. He did just base and pick up the Phantom Dancer. Before that, it was Kraken Slayer and the Rapid Fire on VZZ. Nice little getaway there, and I really thought the Rocket was going to take him down, but the heal coming in clutch from Looker. I like to see the aggression, though. If you're going to play Tristana, should be jumping in. And all in all, not too much going to come from that, but it does mean the flash is unavailable, and we're looking towards that dragon spawning in 2 minutes. It's going to be the third for AGO Rogue. And often third is where teams try and stop the dragon stacking. You get concerned as they get towards that soul. And that could be a vulnerability when you come to that fight. We do have to remember, though, has that Tahm Kench, you can provide that extra element of safety.
Okay, so this is the moment where I need to pick your brain, Orcs, because as you say, Drake going to be coming up. This could be a huge moment in the game. So for SSU, for all the Balkans fans out there that are going to be watching today, what's the game plan? How do they approach this Drake? Because even though the neutral objectives have been going to AGO Rogue, gold is currently even. So how do they operate this composition to be able to win a fight?
I think you want to get control of the dragon area initially, and you want to be able to kite backwards. You need space, because when things come down, like the ultimate for the Viktor, the Chaos Storm, the Cannon Barrage, you want to be able to move backwards. You don't want to be locked into the Dragon Pit. And then you just want to peel. You want to play for your backline. VZZ is actually pretty strong right now on the Jinx. If you get some momentum going, you could actually take a good fight here. You have the likes of klowny on this Cho'Gath who can eat Pyrka. If Pyrka gets low HP and thinks the ult's going to save him, klowny can eat him. Jinx gets the reset, then you can start to find momentum. But they need to find presence on the dragon. They need to find presence in that bot side river. If you're moving in late, it's not going to be great.
Moving late, not going to be great. Got it. The rhymes help me remember how this one's going to work. So we need to see SSU moving in. But with this Rift Herald to get priority, this is going to be AGO Rogue getting complete control of the map. They'll finish this tower off, and that will be the first team to finish that third tower to get the whole trifecta on the go at 17 minutes here. So you can expect AGO Rogue should be able to get priority here, as Mersa and Spooky might be able to threaten Looker, but with Pyrka on the side and Lurox on the flank, maybe this is an opportunity instead for AGO Rogue. The all-in onto Mersa. The damage is there with the Ignite, the Buster shot to finish it off. And that's an easy pickup. And now AGO Rogue in position for more, but it steps up too far forward. Chres taken down, and Lurox will go as well. It's a blunder from AGO Rogue. Triple knockup, though. Maybe that turns it all on its head. Double kill coming on through for 2 hours, and it's going to be even more for the triple here. SSU on top of this one.
An overstep there from Rogue, thinking they could find the play, but the thing was, there was so much space there for SuppUp. They were able to move back into the tower. They had that protection. VZZ starts to get the resets. They start to shred through. They got everything they wanted without even moving into the Dragon Pit. Rogue gave them a good team fight there, and it was a mistake from them. We could see in this situation, they're looking for the flank, but they expect already. They've moved back. This engage on the front line isn't relevant. Mersa is not the target you want, and VZZ is just free hitting in this situation. Looker has to jump away, and klowny gets this beautiful knockup. And as soon as the Viktor goes down, things start to become really concerned. VZZ's got the reset, and yes, there's a bit of an overstep here, but it honestly doesn't matter because Sinmivak has to flash in to get the kill, and it just means he's going down as well. Rogue didn't need to take that fight. They had control of the dragon. They could have just picked it up as a freebie, but they got greedy.
Look, we all have some moments where it all goes a bit wrong, and Chres, for him, that was one of those moments. He steps up, misses the Chaos Storm, steps into the CC, and just gets one shot. It was not his greatest moment, but we'll chalk that up to game one nerfs, all right? This is the first game of the group stage for AGO Rogue, so you got to give him a little bit of slack, but SuppUp looking real good. Understanding their win condition, playing towards it, winning out the fight, and look at who's got the kills. It couldn't be any better. 2 hours with 3, there's another 3 on VZZ. They're getting towards those item breakpoints. It's feeling real good for SuppUp as we move towards more Drakes, as we move towards the Baron that's just spawned onto the map as well.
And AGO Rogue trying to take control of this area, but really, there's not too much risk that Rogue go for this one. It's actually super difficult to try and take a Baron into a Jinx because the ult does so much damage. They actually remove the cap against neutral objectives, and you can actually secure a Baron from 2,000, sometimes even 3,000 HP. So you can't even 50-50 it. A 50-50 implies it's fair for both sides, and Jinx doing so much more damage just is really unbalanced.
Yeah, that's the key thing, is that it's not a 50-50. It is in favor of the Jinx because of the neutral damage. But there's a huge caveat there, Dan, and that's that it's blockable. Pyrka can just go stand in between the Jinx and the Baron, and he will be able to block that rocket. So it's still doable. It's not an impossible situation. SSU now grouping up, taking control of the Baron themselves, but look where Sinmivak is on the map. He's more than okay to play the long game in this scenario. That's one of the things about Gangplank. He loves to be off in a side lane.
Yeah, there's not too much of a concern for AGO Rogue to sort of slow this game down and play towards the scaling. You are still a little bit scared of the Jinx, but, you know, as you said earlier, they got the Gangplank, they got the Viktor. They're okay with it. It's not like there's a massive problem with them losing out on that Dragon, but they're still down in gold at this point, and that Jinx is just based and picked up an Infinity Edge. It's pretty scary. If you do botch a fight, this could well be SuppUp potentially claiming a win.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're getting to that point in the game where, you know, 3 items is always a big moment, and both AD carries have now hit that 3-item mark. You got your mid laners that are still a little bit away from hitting big item breakpoints. They've both got their mythic, but 2hours a lot closer than what we're seeing from Chres here. Chres literally just an amp tome. He's got a staff and a book right here, and it's not the good book either. It's not that death note. It's just it's like a crappy one that he's borrowed from the library. Whereas 2hours already well on the way towards a Seraph. So very, very strong Syndra on one side that can potentially one-shot look up, but Mersa has to flash here. Just as I'm complimenting the team, saying how they're in a great spot, having to flash away, not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing there was that Spooky was farming the jungle on the other side of the map. You have to be pairing up with your jungler when you're going for those clears. You go in solo, you're vulnerable. And I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, the Tahm Kench losing the flash, but it does mean if you step up again and get caught out, you are going to be vulnerable. And we saw that's how Rogue initiated that last fight, was picking off Mersa. With him without flash, they might be able to do that and get out next time.
Well, AGO Rogue have decided it's time to speed things up. They're just going to kick this Baron off for themselves. They're going to get warded, and then they're going to decide, we're not doing the Baron after all. They back away, jump onto Mersa. He doesn't have flash, remember, the Guardian. Going to keep him fairly safe, though. Makes sure that Spooky gets a taste of the bomb as well. Good teamwork there to group up and share the love when the Tristana bomb's about to go off. So AGO Rogue just testing the water a little bit here, but nothing too crazy. Not actually going to commit to the play. It was just, okay, SuppUp, are you going to check it?
Big thing there, though, is them pushing in through the river. Means that SuppUp are able to get a push on in the mid lane, then able to rotate and clear all these wards out. Look at those 1 gold Spooky's getting. That is cash straight into the bank. And Dragon now spawning in 35. Oh, that's a lot of damage on a Lurox there. They could just kill him.
We talked about the 2 items on Syndra, and that's exactly what it is. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes through from VZZ. When Lurox low on HP and having to recall, maybe this is an opportunity to just blast at the Baron. Ward goes in. It's going to be spotted by the Scry's Bloom, but realistically, I don't know if AGO Rogue can properly contest this one. Look out for Sinmivak. Get a cannon barrage across the team. This should push SuppUp away from the Baron. But SuppUp doing a great job to just force AGO Rogue to use resources to stop this happening.
Yeah, again, their cannon barrage pretty big. And remember, we talked about the Jinx rocket secure, and they also have a Cho'Gath as well. So hard to steal in this situation. Rogue need to look for a fight here.
Oh, Pyrka with the flash in, but 2 hours dodges it. Klowny's in real trouble at the back of the pit here. Scatter the week across the whole team. AGO Rogue in trouble, but VZZ knocked away. Chaos Storm ticking away as well. Sinmivak walks off. Everyone survives somehow. How are there so many blinking health bars?
Oh, the Baron probably doing the most damage there, shredding Klowny and nearly taking down the rest of the team. VZZ only just surviving, but critically Rogue force them off the Baron, and it frees them up to take the Dragon here, get the 3rd of the game. Definitely on a nice edge there. SuppUp playing with fire.
Yeah, that's at home we call that squeaky bum time, when it's all getting a little bit too nervous and you clench your ass cheeks. That's that kind of moment right there. 5-7 on the scoreboard, 25 minutes on the clock. But importantly, AGO Rogue now on Soul Point. They're starting to get those items ticking up. We always talk about it with the Gangplank. 3 items is that magical sweet spot where you suddenly start one-shotting carries, and he's heading towards that moment. But it's still a little way away, and it feels like SuppUp, in terms of the items, are still at an advantage.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the AD carries are pretty close, but mid lane is a big thing. 2 hours having those 2, and he's been sitting on those for a while, so likely going to be closing in on another. At this point, the Syndra is still a massive threat. And we saw the damage that was done to Lurox earlier, nearly killed him. If the ult connected, would have just blown up the the Volibear, but yeah.
Sinmivak, he's done it again. He's overstepped again. Feast comes through. The rocket from VZZ looking hopeful. Please, sir, can I have a kill? Klowny says no. Klowny now TPs in and gets a no of his own as he's absolutely one shot, but somehow walks away anyway. Mersa now with the thick skins, keep himself safe, but Lurox and Pyrka are looking a little worse for wear here. Lurker's in trouble. Abyssal Voyage in from Mersa just to take a couple of hits to the face, but it's Lurker. Look at this overstepped on this one. The bomb then goes off. He does at least get the kill, but I don't think that was worth his life.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of messy situations. Klowny TPing in there only to get absolutely shredded, but the Mersa goes for the aggressive play, but it's Lurker who ends up messing up, and now Pyrka. What's going on?
Pyrka and Chres both just walking up and taking easy hits from VZZ. That's an 80 carry, guys. He does a lot of damage. That's how League of Legends works. Cannon Barrage in onto this one as SSU in position, poised to take this Baron. It's all on Lurox. Has the flash, has the smite. He is 2 levels down, though, and he's getting chased away by Spooky. SSU aren't gonna risk anything. More kills into their pockets, and the Balkans, the underdogs, this is their first seed. And they're looking great in their first game.
They're absolutely stomping. I mean, Klowny somehow surviving here, but AGO Rogue, I'm just not sure what happened in this passage of play. They're just completely disrespecting the other side. Look at here, sees the Tahm Kench, and it's like, yeah, let's just stand here and auto attack. As the stun connects, Udyr runs up, you're now gone. SuppUp are feeling confident to go for this, but it's just on repeat. Pyrka essentially just walks up to them here, Chres as well. And yeah, of course, a Jinx is just going to turn on you. Red buff available, tons of range. You're now dead. Chres is now dead. Credit to SuppUp here. 2 hours and VZZ playing these beautifully, but I'm just not sure what's going through AGO Rogue's head in these plays.
And what a difference for this organization. Last EU Masters, they went 0-6. It was not a good look for them. This time around, against the reigning champions, they want to start off with a win. And 3 of the players on this squad are still from that team that went 0-6. VZZ, Spooky, Klowny, they were on that squad that lost all of those games, and it all just looked so dire for. This time around, they're coming in strong. They're coming in wanting wins.
I mean, what a comeback story that'd be, to go from being one of the worst performing teams at last EU Masters, and then here you're beating potentially the best performing team from that EU Masters. Because right now, there's a pretty big gold lead, 3,500, and I'm looking at where the gold is. Jinx has just picked up a Bloodthirster, and VZZ is absolutely on fire. There isn't a great answer. Pyrka gets shredded, Lurox gets shredded if they come close. Looker can try, but I feel like at this point, the Jinx is just outscaled completely.
Yeah, it's feeling real good. I mean, we've got a Jinx with 4 items, which is an absolute teamfight terror in of itself. But also, 2 hours on the Syndra is one-shotting people. A Scat of the Week literally just annihilates any squishy. You don't even need the unstoppable power. That's not even the unleashed power, sorry. That's not even the big ability anymore with Syndra. And you can see, 2 hours now just gets to push that mid-wave in. You've got the bot side push as well from SSU. Drake's up in 40 seconds. They can siege all day with this Baron. And then they can always go back and get the Drake as a consolation prize.
Yeah, focus on using the Baron when you have it available. Could be tricky if you do end up dying here, because you lose that Baron buff and they're able to translate into the soul. But for now, SuppUp are feeling confident. Gestum comes down, but it's not even going to clear the wave effectively. It barely breaks the Bloodthirster shield from VZZ. Oh, that more than break a shield.
Bit of a dicey situation. VZZ, he's 1v3 in. What is that damage coming out from him? Just blasts them all away, keeps them out of the fight. Now, we talked about the consolation prize. Over to this Cloud Drake. It's not going to change the entire game, getting this Cloud Drake. It's just going to stop AGO Rogue getting themselves that soul.
Yeah, and obviously keeps the game going later and later. And that's when the teams managed to end. But the Elder Dragon's still quite a bit away at this point. The Baron is coming up in 2.5 minutes. And again, SuppUp looking confident. And you can see the way they're playing these situations is Mersa is always just behind VZZ. It makes it so hard to try and punish this Jinx when you know it's just going to get gobbled up. You're wasting your CC. And there's only limited amounts available to the side of AGO Rogue. You have the lockdown from Lurox, you have the lockdown from Pyrka. Everything else is a little bit finicky. The the gravity field you have to stand in for a decent amount of time for that to proc. So just not great answers in this situation. And to top it all off, VZZ now has a stopwatch. And this is kind of the thing that I always look to when there's going to be a fight that dictates the game. There's going to be the second Baron that we could likely see SuppUp use to close things out. Picking up a stopwatch here, super clutch. It makes AGO Rogue's engage options way more limited.
Yeah, it's looking real good for this Jinx. And, you know, I'm an AD carry player. I've played a lot of the old Jinx, and this is the dream scenario, right? When you're playing that Jinx, you're already on your 4 items. Your last major item is kind of whatever. He's going to look towards a GA with that stopwatch, but as you rightly say, the stopwatch is more of a short-term plan. He's not looking to finish another item. He's looking to finish the game. But you got your Tahm Kench. You got a Syndra that's popping off and getting stuns across the team, and you got this massive, beefy front line of a Cho'Gath and an Udyr. A Cho'Gath that's on 9 feast stacks, by the way. Like, you have so much space to work with as VZZ in these fights, and you can play so aggressive because you always have Mersa to just pick you up and drop you off at safety. It's just beautiful.
This is actually really rough for AGO Rogue because they set the bot wave up to push so that klowny would have to answer. They then pushed mid wave and they wanted to move into the jungle, and VZZ just throws the traps down and that's it. Not able to push anymore. Now they have obviously seen klowny responding. VZZ's went to the top side. This is where they're finding the window to push in and maybe find some vision. But it's a short window to go for. You can see Lurox runs in, clears that ward. He's instantly moving out again. They can't commit really more than that. Although it looks like VZZ's going for a reset, so maybe they find klowny here.
Yeah, Spooky's in trouble. That's a lot of damage out from Looker. This would be a huge pick if they can finish it off, but Spooky moves at the speed of light. VZZ slowed by the cannon barrage, and he's knocked up. This could be the pick that turns the game. 2 for Looker straight off the bat. Now 2hours takes a huge barrel blast to the face. Sinmivak charging on in. The Cho'Gath can't quite do it. 1 more kill going the way of SSU, but I don't think that's enough to turn the game right here. Spooky moving on in. 2hours trying to buy himself space. Good scout of the week into the Cloud Rift. Means he can get away with some nice movement speed here. Spooky trying to save him as well, but Lurox, he isn't finished just yet. He wants a little bit more action. He's got some big bear paws to make it happen, but Baron's just spawning. This is perfect for AGO Rogue to get themselves back into the game.
Just complete disrespect there coming out from SuppUp, and it's heartbreak. Losing the Baron here could be devastating. AGO Rogue find the Jinx, find the play, and look to be able to stabilize his game. I think with the Baron, they can look to equalize his gold lead for sure. And it's just rough. I had such high expectations with that previous team fight for SuppUp, and just a mistake like this, overstep from Spooky. You have to respect the fact that your laners aren't there to support you, and then VZZ walks up, you're in the cannon barrage, the combo comes in, follow-ups there from Looker, and the bot lane's instantly obliterated. And the problem is that you force these TPs from your allies to come in, and they just end up falling prey to the same situation.
Yeah,
it's still not over though for SuppUp.
It's not over. It's not over, but that's not great. When we're talking about how they're coming from the Balkans, they're the first seed from the region. Last time around, they went 0-3 in groups, and now they're trying to prove that wrong. Getting caught out isn't the play. Sinmivak, they'll be able to turn around a lot of damage here, and I don't know, Mersa and Spooky is not the 2-man hit squad that you think it is. They don't do any damage, and now klowny's caught. Doesn't have anywhere to go. Double kill for Looker. In goes Lurox over the wall, but nobody can follow him. Lurox, mate, you need a team with you. A little overzealous on the ult, perhaps, but AGO Rogue get 2.
These tanks, I don't know what they're doing. You see Mersa, you see Spooky, you see klowny going in like crazy, you see Lurox as well. You don't do any damage, and these AD carries annihilate you. I don't know how they ever thought they were going to kill Sinmivak there, but the whole team is there to respond. And then you see initially not much damage is actually going down until Looker starts putting auto attacks in. klowny just gets absolutely shredded here. And then Lurox is like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. No, you're not. The Jinx can do the exact same. Just mincemeats through the Volibear. You have to play way more respectfully. Peel for your backline. Yeah. Stop flying in like this when you don't have their support, because you're not outputting damage. Lurox, you're not doing damage. Spooky, you're not doing damage. Mersa, you're not doing anything really at this point. You should just play protection. All right.
Let's reset for a second here, Rorks. Let's take a look at the gold right now, because it's just about even between our two teams. But it's AGO Rogue grabbing themselves their 4th Drake. That's Cloud Soul now. Certainly feels pretty good on a couple of these champions. Chres managing to dodge getting picked just by having a Banshees there. Pyrka looks for the engage, but won't find it. Actually slowed himself. I don't think SSU can commit to this one. And you can feel the tension, right? This is game one. Both teams seed number one from their respective regions. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot on the line. And suddenly, after these last two fights have been so back and forth, so dicey on either side, you can see that both teams are a little antsy to step too far.
And the thing is, this late in the game, one tiny misstep is enough just to lose the game, potentially. There's so much damage output coming through. Chres doesn't end up face checking. You see SuppUp trying to make a pick play there, but there isn't really a reason for AGO Rogue to step up. Baron not available for quite a while. Just got to play respectful at this point.
And when we're looking at these fights, we've got to be keeping our eyes on 2hours with these Scatter Weeks. They have been pivotal across the course of this game. But it's also on the opposite side, keeping your eyes on Luka. Because if he doesn't get hit by that Scatter Week, if he has freedom, that's a 6-item Tristana. Luka is one-shotting people if he has time to get a couple of autos out. And now he gets some time to get a couple of autos onto a tower in this mid lane. That's only the 4th for AGO Rogue. Still very much map control in terms of how many towers have been taken, at least in favor of SSU, who are moving towards the bottom side of the map here. klowny has already pushed this wave. Maybe there's some kind of opportunity for a pick if they can defend, but I think they might just lose towers, though. You got Sinmivak and the rest of Rogue pushing up in the mid lane in the meantime. They're going to start recalling. klowny is here. Abyssal Voyage. This is the 5-head macro play coming out from SSU. Can a barrage will clear the way, but the tower's already gone here. Spooky's here. BZZ can just shred this inhibitor, but he can't quite do it just yet. Needs to be careful for Pyrka, who's looking for the engage. Keep your eyes on 2hours. The Scatter of the Week could change this fight around. klowny taking some damage from the Chaos Storm. SSU disengaging. They don't quite get the inhibitor, but they get a tower at very least.
Yeah, really nice move. The wave was stacked up by klowny. The thing was, AGO Rogue didn't have waves at the tower ready available, so they couldn't go for that base race in that situation. They do respond. They do get back to defend the inhibitor, but now they have 2 open inhibitors on the bot side. It means that if SuppUp win a fight here, they could probably just end off the back of this. AGO Rogue do get back on the map quicker, and they're going to start setting up this Baron.
Yeah, so Baron about to come back up in a minute's time, but importantly, with the 2 TPs available for klowny in 2 hours, but also Abyssal Voyage from Mersa, you can actually have a backdoor Jinx. That is terrifying. She will one-shot those inhibitors. Spooky on the flank, looking for Lurox here, but he just gets knocked up and taken down. Spooky barely gets out with his life. Double knockup is there. Luka is free-firing the entire time. Does what he wants. Unleashed Power does absolutely nothing to him. That's just an easy pick for Rogue.
And the value... Oh, Spooky in trouble. Should be able to walk that one off.
I'm not even going to talk. He's Udyr. He's fine.
Yeah. Alistar just able to tank so much there with the ultimate. You saw klowny getting shredded, Mersa getting shredded, and the Alistar's just able to shrug it off with that ult. And now they're looking for the engage.
This could be the end of the game here. BZZ has been caught. Luka gets the kill. And Rogue, after struggling all game, have blown this wide open. It felt like they'd lost control, and it felt like SSU was somehow taking it. But Luka on the tower just blows them apart. Spooky's down. klowny to fall as well. And Luka on his Tristana is the man of the hour for AGO Rogue. Polstergorum as the first seed from Ultra Liga take their first game.
And it's the expected result, but not in the manner we thought. SuppUp putting a huge fight up there, and honestly, it's heartbreaking to be so close to landing that win, which they missed out on last EU Masters against the reigning champions. And I have to give credit, they gave a good fight against one of the stronger teams expected coming into this, but it would have been so great for them if they could have got that win.
Yeah, and you have to be a little bit heartbroken, don't you, for the Balkans? Like, after such a great performance in their first game, just a couple of little missteps, and AGO Rogue immediately pounce and punish in those moments. We're going to jump into a quick break. We'll be jumping into the last game of the day following this one after a little bit of analysis.
Another night on my own in a lonely city. Thought I'd cry when you left, but it hasn't hit me. No, I know that you'll be with her, but it doesn't even hurt, 'cause I like it better when my bed's empty. Ooh, I'm not even thinking about you. Got too many fun things I can do. I don't need your help, 'cause I know
All or nothing. What's going on, boys and girls, and everyone else as well? Welcome back to EU Masters, and we just finished our 5th game here between AGO Rogue and SuppUp. And I'm not gonna lie, Orcs, I'm a little bit heartbroken. By halfway through that game, I was starting to root for the Balkans because, you know, I said it a couple of times in that game, but 0-6 last EU Masters, coming in, finding some of those mid-game fights, finding some advantages, and then it all fell apart.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think there was some really good play. I think there was some mistakes definitely from AGO Rogue, but SuppUp found a lot of opportunities for themselves. VZZ and twohoyrz with stellar on these carries. And the thing is, it came off the back of a really rough start. We're seeing this play come out from AGO Rogue where they kind of got decimated. And then there was this one which turned it around. VZZ essentially untouched on the backline here. And then klowny comes in with this beautiful rupture onto Chres. He's just walking in, misses a Chaos Storm, gets knocked up, and that gives him momentum to start to turn it around. And I really felt like as the momentum started getting rolling, I thought the Jinx was going to feel unstoppable, but it just wasn't enough. Look at the last one alive here, ended up being the big carry for AGO Rogue.
Yeah, that was the big thing, I think, was LUCKR had so much freedom in these fights, especially later on into the game, because early on it felt like they were doing a good job to catch LUCKR out. SSU kept on making sure LUCKR couldn't do what he wanted during these skirmishes, but in these later fights, when we saw a couple of picks coming on through, LUCKR was able to just bounce around, get the resets, get the bombs. And the thing is, on both sides, it felt like the tanks just didn't exist. It felt like the tanks were literally 3 autos from one of these AD carries, and they're just gone. Yeah, unbelievable. Look at the damage coming out from LUCKR.
Look at that gold graph. I mean, the damage, yeah, absolutely. LUCKR really carrying his weight. You can see that on the side of SuppUp, twohoyrz, and VZZ, kind of equal in terms of what they were doing. But look at that gold graph. Look how far ahead SuppUp got, and then it ended up swinging back by the end. It was such a close game. And what's sad is that you'll look at this game and you'll see AGO Rogue 1, SuppUp 0, and you'll think, well, that's what we expected. But the mana was just completely not what I thought going into this game. And honestly, considering AGO Rogue are looking like, you know, the first seed for the Ultra League, likely one of the stronger teams in the whole tournament, I think that if SuppUp continue to play like this, we can expect them to definitely get that win on the cards.
And I do think that we need to put this game in context for AGO Rogue, because as you're rightly saying, #1 from Ultra Liga, this is the current reigning champions with a different roster that then come back into Ultra Liga, win the whole thing again, and now show up to EU Masters as the first seed. So we've got huge expectations for this roster.
Yep.
And it's important to mention that they did really well in the early game. There was a bit of a misstep in that mid lane. We saw the replay where Chres steps too far forward, and that moment started things spiraling a little bit in favor of SuppUp. I feel like if you just erase that moment from the game, this is a clean win for AGO Rogue, and they showed in the late game team fights, they were the ones with the better decision making. They were the ones with the cleaner team fighting ultimately. So I think that this is still a positive win for AGO Rogue, and we shouldn't be too harsh on criticizing AGO Rogue, but at the same time, we should be celebrating SuppUp for punishing that overstep. Like, every team makes mistakes. That's how League of Legends works. It's the better teams that can punish when your opponent messes up.
And that's the big thing for me, is I look at these mistakes that AGO Rogue made, and I think K-Corp would murder you. And I think there's a few other teams who would also follow in that trend. And if you make plays like that, you're just going to lose the game. And again, you know, they still got the win. And as you said, they managed to bring it back, but it needs to be cleaner from them. But SuppUp, yeah, I think we can praise them, definitely. We're put in a pretty tough group. We are going to see Misfits Premier and G2 Arctic playing next, so we get to see what the rest of the group looks like. But I'm really hoping that by the end of the group stages, SuppUp are able to get some wins on the board.
Yeah, and I'm excited that we get these games back to back. We get to kind of just preview the whole of Group B, because Group B, especially with SuppUp actually looking good today, suddenly predictions for this group could be completely up in the air, right? Because Misfits Premier going to be coming in as a very strong seed coming out from the LFL. Like, there's a lot of question marks around this, especially with G2 Arctic as well, of how strong is this team? A lot of people coming into the tournament saying, hey, Spain's being slept on right now. G2 Arctic look real good in the play-ins. Maybe that's another team that could look amazing. So with SuppUp stepping up, with G2 Arctic being a question mark of, hey, maybe this is a big contender, actually, Group B, maybe that's the group of death after all.
I feel like this always happens where we come into EU Masters, we're like, these teams will be on the top, these teams will probably be on the bottom, NLC's finally going to do well, and then it instantly goes out the window, and we sort of get brought back to reality where realistically, a lot of teams can kind of, anyone really can beat anyone if they're having the right day, having the right tournament. We saw that last EU Masters. We had lots of teams from the minor regions. The PG Nats in particular just massively stepped up and were challenging. And I kind of feel like we're probably going to get a similar story here. We can't really rule anyone out.
All right, well, we're getting ready to jump into a quick break because the next series is coming up. As you just saw on your screen, it's Misfits going up against G2 Arctic. This is going to be a big one. It's LFL up against SL, and it's sort of France-ish against Spain coming up for us. So we're going to jump into a quick break, and then we'll jump into that series. Do not go anywhere.